Hey there, welcome to the 30-day challenge. I am now on day 23. So, if you've been following along, or if you haven't, doesn't matter either way, but especially those of you following along, you will see that I am now officially in week, I don't know whether it's 3 or 4. Anyway, the point here is that I'm on day 23 of this 30-day challenge. And if you go back to, and I will make sure that I post them up here, the video where it was the start of the challenge. And then each week I am providing updates. In this update, and I'll share my screen here now. All right. So this is day 24 of that 30-day challenge. The primary goal here is interest in this wait list. And I am reevaluating. One thing I did not put in here, but because of the pretty abysmal conversion rate that I've been getting on this page, I decided to create an A/B test, which you can do inside Kajabi. I created an A/B test. I added some social proof, certain brands that I've worked directly with. Then I've also changed the headline to make it a bit more appealing to the pain point and more specifically to that ideal person. So those are some little minor tactical things that I've done. Whenever you're doing a test, you need to look at the results. You need to not deny the results, especially if they're, awful. And then you need to immediately figure out what the next step is. And in this situation, it was create an A/B test. Okay. So as I said, still just got one opt-in. We are in a testing mode, and this really allows you to separate yourself from your ego for a minute and just look at the data and learn from the data. And we all need to do this and just make it a regular practice. I've been posting lots of content between LinkedIn. I established a brand new TikTok account. Again, still more testing, probably not necessarily going to hit those ideal potential people that I'm really trying to reach, but you never know because we're testing. I have a YouTube channel, not this one, but I have an older one that I basically breathed new life into and decided, let's try and repurpose that platform. They were initially that channel was geared towards SEO professionals, but hey, those people are part of this group too. So it's SEO professionals, social media managers, digital marketing professionals that work inside a company. And that's really who it is that I'm really trying to appeal to. Also, something else that happened this week, as I mentioned last week, I hired a VA. I've got a summer intern, a high school intern. She is doing amazingly well, despite the fact that this is a 17-year-old in their summer. Okay. This is vacation time and they're not getting paid. This is going towards credits to a class. So, but they are diligently working every single day inside that business TikTok account and they're doing work and they're measuring and they're doing some analysis and they're posting up videos. So that's been awesome. The problem is my paid virtual assistant who is not helping. And this is why I'm highlighting hire slow, fire fast. You may have heard that, but if you're a founder, and you probably have heard this, but it's definitely a good practice. I am getting closer to the point where I do need to fire fast because this person is not keeping up, or to put it a little bit more specifically, I am not seeing things getting checked off. I am not being told that there needed to be a day off. It was after the fact that, oh, I didn't work yesterday, or one excuse, or my laptop's not working. There's one excuse after another. When you start seeing that, these are red flags that you need to pull the plug. So I'm either going to end up just pulling them completely out and doing these things myself just in order to move things along, which would be far faster than if I stopped in the minute and just went to one or two freelance staffing agencies that I've worked with and then go through the whole interview process and reestablish it. I'm in a 30-day challenge. I don't have time necessarily to do that. That does not mean that I would not go and hire a good virtual assistant who could work with me more beyond this challenge. I definitely think there's value in doing that. But I think while I'm making this business decision inside this 30-day challenge, what I'm likely going to do is probably have that conversation in the next day or so and just wind up doing these things myself. I also decided that I am not going to run ads. Again, the ads that I would be running would be inside LinkedIn, which is definitely not cheap. There needs to be I do have my LinkedIn Insight tracking tag in my website. So in the event that I decide to run ads, I at least have that collecting all of the tracking data all along. So that's just a smart thing to do. And I did that last weekend. I just put that in place to make sure that that's all the way that it should be. I have a Google Tag Manager in there with the LinkedIn Insight tag. So that's just a best practice that you should do anyway, whether you're running ads or not. Here's the sort of part B to that is that the actual waitlist page needs to have a better conversion rate through organic. The organic conversion rate should be at least at a 30%. I would say at least 30%, if not better. I did consult with Carla, my ChatGPT advisor. I provided ultra specific information and I'll share it with you so that you can see, because I think this is the smartest way that you can and should be using ChatGPT. And so I'll show you what that looks like. All right. So when you need to be specific, as you must be as specific as possible. And so what I did here was I had an idea. I went on a long run this morning and lots of really great business ideas always generally occur whenever I'm on a run. It could even be 3 miles, but generally when it's a little bit longer in time, things start coming into your head. And so one of the things I was thinking of was that I wanted to maybe consider not just the digital marketing managers in house, but maybe their bosses. And these are people in the VP level, maybe it's the CMO or the CEO, that they are the ones who are going to bring in headcount, the digital marketing manager. So what I was basically asking ChatGPT was, I've got lots of experience doing this. I have seen very large, well-known brands experience the problems of not having internal digital marketing managers with specific training. The training gets lost. They assume they went to college, they majored in marketing, therefore when they start on the job, they know exactly what to do. And what happens is there's a learning curve that occurs. They don't know what reporting should look like. They don't know how to get other business units in the company on board with their marketing strategy. And more importantly, they don't even know how to build out a digital marketing strategy, which will absolutely hurt. And so in order as a way for me to protect them from getting eliminated from their jobs because maybe they are going to then be seen as another line item in the company, I don't want them to be seen that way. I want them to be seen as the support, the revenue drivers that they are from a marketing standpoint. But I also needed to ask ChatGPT, hey, you know what? Am I going down the wrong path? Well, you can see I am being ultra specific here. And then I said, obviously I did say, don't try and give me all the platitudes or how great I am. I don't need to hear that. I need you to be a consultant. And so it basically goes through the strategic idea, how I'm trying to solve the problem and what's been going on. It's helpful because this is what's going on, and maybe you don't have that strategic advisor right there. So this is kind of your internal team or your board of advisors. Now, obviously, if you have these people in your current company situation, you should absolutely present this to them for sure. But maybe what you could do is, as you're ruminating on your ideas, share them with ChatGPT. Take that messaging. If you agree, obviously, don't just take it without considering it seriously, and then go to your board of advisors or your internal strategic team and present them with that idea. That actually might also spur on some other better ideas. The more humans you have to support you the better I feel. So the next steps is for me to establish a more unified messaging with 2 layers of relevance. It's going to be directed at the in-house marketer, but it's going to hit the leadership team indirectly. And the leaders will then feel seen and the marketers will feel supported. And then I can be that conduit or the bridge that really kind of helps them both. So, what changes from a messaging standpoint? I will add a new section into my website because I do think organically and from an evergreen perspective, I need to have some content that really speaks to this, the executives, the leaders, and really kind of hone in that messaging and get them to understand, not from a sales page, more of a like kind of like a services page, if you will. I'm going to also use lives, online live trainings. I'm going to segment that in a subtle way. Are you an in-house marketing leader or the executive hiring managing one? So it will determine exactly who's really the most interested in what I'm talking about. And that will reveal itself in specifically the people that opt in or that don't. Um, the unified message is I help in-house digital marketers become strategic growth drivers inside their companies and help the executives who hire them get real ROI from those roles. This week, I'm going to finish this flailing email campaign. I'm going to establish a soft transition campaign inside of LinkedIn campaign, not ads, but organic in an organic posting messaging way, and try to reach out to those people already that are in my network and having good conversations with them and really trying to learn a little bit more from them. But also, as I said, kind of transitioning it away from manufacturing only to other industries that really I know do have these same challenges. And then I need to determine if I decide to run one more cold email campaign. And if I do, I'd have to target it by the role, not the industry. This is a consistent struggle because I've been running a cold email campaign, not for this initiative, but back in April. And that was in the spring. And we had just as many out of office, just as many responses. So the fact that there's a lot of out of office in the month of July is no surprise. However, I think this is just going to be at this point, certainly at the end of this challenge or early next month, I will likely just fold that campaign, move on, and then just concentrate resources into what I know did get me that one really great opt-in, which was organic LinkedIn. Going to go probably back there and then just dive deep into really becoming strategic and focused in that specific area. That's what I got this week. I also created a little funnel here so you can kind of see. This is, ideally what's happening here is that I'm trying to get the goal is to get 50 people onto this wait list. This may take me another 30 days. This may take me 60 days. I have to also make the decision of when is it too much? One LinkedIn post could drive, 25 or 30 opt-ins. You just don't know. And so there's that too. So again, let me know. Hey, if you want to join me in this challenge, you can go back to that week 1 and just follow along. I am going to be answering any questions. If you have any questions, I would love to answer those questions that you might have. And if it's something that I can do more to help you guys out as business owners, as founders, please let me know. Drop those into the comments below. And, I'll be back next week with more updates and more really cool things to share. Thank you so much.